So let's have a look at this paper. This is a paper from 2019. I think it's from January 2019, isn't it? Um, and it's about libraries, right? So what we'll do is we'll actually look at the paper first quickly, and we'll just read the paper quietly, okay? So we'll just click on that. I can't seem to be able to do. So just click on that. So this is Monday, 14th of January 2019. Read text one, the extracts booklet adapted from a lecture called Why Our Future Depends on Libraries, Reading and Daydreaming. So we'll just go to the end, okay? And we'll look at the insert quickly. You can just read it in your head. All right, here it is. Here's the extract book. Stop it if you need to. That's a brilliant piece on reading by a brilliant writer guy called Neil Gaiman, actually, who's one of my favourite living writers. He's written some brilliant, brilliant stuff, and I use his stuff all the time. So that is a brilliantly written piece, very compact, knows its audience, and you can actually steal all sorts of stuff from that. Text two. Do teens read seriously anymore? Adapted from an article in the New Yorker magazine by David Denby. So in this passage, the writer presents his ideas about teenagers' reading habits. So we've read those. So we go and look at where the sources were taken from or adapted from. So why our future depends on reading. and Daydreaming by Neil Gaiman came from the Copyright Guardian. And the text too was from the New Yorker Culture Comment Books. Smell like old people, the decline of teen reading. I don't agree with that second article. I don't think he's really very in touch, actually, but there you go. That's the whole point, isn't it? They're both communicating different points of view. So, what we need to think about when you're looking at those is the point of view and the rhetorical devices used, and what the purpose of it. And what we're trying to do is, when you actually apply, you do your own de Foresti or R faster crotch or whatever mnemonic you fancy using, you then and the recipe, you're applying these to professional writers or the writers in the exam. They're not always professional. So, okay. So let's have a look at the actual read and understand a variety of text. For mark for any one of the following. And that's not it, is it? Yeah. Okay. So text one. The author says that he's biased as a reader. Is that the answer? Look at the question. That one. Okay, so let's just have a look at the question then. Doesn't look like you got that right, but I might be wrong. Using lines 1 to 9 state one way, the writer says he's biased. Okay, I understand now. Okay, I'll give you a mark. Okay, right, I'll give you a mark. 1. Next one. Okay, 1 mark for that. Good, you're getting it. Okay, simple questions, aren't they? He talks about a charity who helps people through reading, so reading must be important. He presents himself as biased and emphasises it obviously enormously. The use of the charity, the reading agency, the use of lists, firstly, very real dry, which suggests the enthusiasm generated by reading. Okay, so you've got that. How many marks is it worth? Oh, goodness. Hang on. 3. Explain how the writer persuades the reader that it's important to read. You've got 1 out of 10. You're not looking at how many marks it's worth, are you? Okay. So let's just have a look what the mark scheme says. Reward responses that demonstrate how the writer persuades the reader it's important to read. So this is showing your understanding of it. So Harry presents himself as biased and emphasises this, obviously and enormously. The use of the charity, the reading agency. The use of lists, firstly, very real drive, which suggests the enthusiasm generated by reading. The use of repetition, new words, new thoughts, that emphasises the educational aspect of reading. The use of alliteration, communicate, comprehend. The use of 26 letters and a handful of punctuation marks. Emphasises skill involved in both the reading and the use of personal address you. The use of lists to create an increasing sense of the empathy gained by reading. Feel things, visit places and worlds, lists. The unusual expression, everyone else out there is a me. Yeah, so unusual language. So that's under my 10 points, isn't it? Language, or under my 17 points, use interesting descriptive language. The use of non-standard sentence structure, sentence with and, yeah. He's breaking the rules because he's a professional author. What it is good for suggests a colloquial and chatty tone which engages the reader and emphasises this is taken from a lecture. He's talking. It's colloquial and chatty, the tone. There's a strong sense of the writer's personal opinions, the use of the first person, many examples. The use of Einstein as an expert strengthens his argument. Hello, I'm just doing a video. I'll be back. I'll be down in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste that. I'll do it again. Hang on. I'll copy and paste that into yours. So these are the possibilities you could have done. You did one, which is a bit of a disaster. Okay. Also, what you can notice here, if you can possibly listen to me here, for that question Q3, what we're doing is we're using my recipes. Okay, we're looking at the emotive language, any rhetorical devices. From my video, I'm just going to put my video in. So what you use to answer this question is what you need to write your own. So it's De Forest plus my recipe, isn't it? Let me just I'll just quickly go to my YouTube channel and get you the template. So those are my templates, all right? I think this is the one that's got it written underneath. And all of those words are emotive to get us interested. As I said, the rule of three, which I seem to have put in twice, so that's not a problem. Just put the rule of three in twice if you can. Exaggeration, just exact. So this is my video. All right, so it's a mixture between creative and De Forest, okay? So there's my video, and underneath the video is a list of devices that are impressive. Okay. Please redo this question. We do not want to make the same mistake in the exam, do we? And used by professional writers, which is what you're going to have to do, and I ask you to use them. All right, okay, good. So let's go on to the next one. Question 3. So you're actually looking at language and structure here, aren't we? Which is what I've talked about. Vocabulary, sentence structure. Yeah, you're looking at this, the thorough understanding and exploration of language and structure and how they're used by writers. So you haven't actually done that at all, have you? Read the question. So that's what I'm wanting you to do. In this question, you're being asked to look at thorough understanding and exploration of language and structure and how these are used by writers to achieve effects, including use of vocabulary, that's what I say, choose interesting vocabulary, choose different sentence structures, and that's what they're doing. And other language features, point of view, you can always talk about point of view, easy. Tone as well, you can always talk about. Right, let's see next one. Question 4, 1 mark. So you're good at these ones, aren't you? Yeah, okay, so you've got 1 mark for that. So this is worth 2 marks. So we're looking for they're very busy, school commitments, homework, part-time jobs, family, except individual families, members. So you're looking to read and understand a variety of text, selecting and interpreting information. Screens, internet, TV, games, texting, Instagramming, smartphones. They didn't like being stuck in a book, frustrates their smartphone sense of being everywhere at once. Reading can make them anxious and angry. Books smell like old people. Ooh. So this is it. Okay, so in line 33, suggest some reasons. So we'll put that in your thing. So again, you're not looking at the amount of marks, are you? Okay, I'll give you 2 for that. Well, I think, yeah, okay, I'll give you 2. So, yeah, just be careful to do 2 marks. Okay. The author of the text says that teenagers spend too much time on their screens and not enough time reading. So again, this is a 10-mark question. And we're looking for, and the question is, 10 marks, this is a 10-mark question. Right, this is a 10-mark question. So look at how much the questions are worth. Always look at how much they are worth. Okay, this is a language and structure question, like the other one that we talked about earlier. Okay, so you're going to have to redo this one again, aren't you? So there's your answer, which is 1 mark. So let's just have a look, shall we? What they're looking for. Close reference to the passage, basically, how the writer describes teenage attitudes towards reading is looking at the recipes that I talk about, yeah? So let's just have a look what they're suggesting. The initial negative critical image of teenagers hooded like monks or druids, so imagery. I always say look at the imagery. Eyes fastened to the smartphone sets the tone for the article. The dismissive terms used to describe what to read, scraps, excerpt pieces from everywhere and nowhere, so negative, very negative. The use of organisations, so like in De Forestier, using expert opinion. The use of the word chore to describe the teenage attitude to reading, so again a very negative use of language. The implied criticism of teenagers' attitude to reading has lost its privileged status. Few kids are ashamed, doesn't flourish in many kids, look at you blankly. So again, very negative and critical actually. The use of lists to itemise all the distractions that teenagers have. So yeah, lists. Both of them use lists. The use of very, very negative language. It's a very negative tone, this. It's horrible. The use of negative language, frustrated, anxious, angry. I don't agree with him at all, but this is what he's using repeating negative language, repetition of negative language. The use of conciliatory comments. This is not a news story, so he sounds like he's an expert on it, doesn't he? He sounds like a grumpy old man actually, but he's suggesting he's reasonable and sort of has an overview. The use of italics somehow suggests otherwise, and the use of the ominous short sentence, or so we'd like to think. So short and long sentences, try and pick out if they use short and long sentences. So you can actually write these yourself, can't you, by using various different devices. Just go and look at what the actual text that you're being asked to look at, what devices they use. The use of positive language to describe the benefits of reading, life-changing, literally and spiritually immeasurable. So they're very, very positive language there. Adjectives, isn't it? It's very positive adjectives there. And rule of three, probably. The use of first person, many examples. So yeah, what point of view it is. So imagery, the language used, the choice of language. There's so many other things you could put in there actually, but that's the basic. You could look at how it begins and how it ends. Yeah. So anything you want to say about how it's written, basically. Levels 9 to 10 or 7 to 8, thorough understanding, exploration of language and structure, and how these are used by writers to achieve effects, including use of vocab, sentence structure, and other language features. The selection of references detailed, appropriate, and fully supports the points being made. I think I might have to go through the model SAMs. I don't think I've done that for section A and B, have I? Have I? Let me just put that here. So that's what you're looking for. But at the moment, you haven't got that, have you? A thorough understanding of exploration of language and structure. So those 10-point ones are about language and structure. Please redo them. You can steal their ideas or you can make your own up, basically, by looking at the sentence structure in the beginning and the end of the piece, and how the paragraphs are laid out, and you can talk about, any language you're interested in talking about, really. Both of the authors complain that teenagers are not spending enough time reading books and are instead spending too long on screen. So what's the question here? Refer to both text 1 and text 2 to answer the following text questions. Compare how the writers of both text 1 and text 2 present their ideas about the importance of reading. It's worth 15 marks. Why have you just done one line? Right, I'm just going to read out possibly what they're going to ask to do, and I'm going to ask you to do this again. So, I'm just going to move this so that you can't actually read it very easily. So response is text 1 conveys his enthusiasm from the start. The experience of reading fiction is described as educational, to think new thoughts, to discover what reading is all about. Links reading positively with modern life, quote, words are more blah blah than they ever were. We navigate the world with words. Reading matter is found online, not in books, so they're still reading all the time. It offers positive advice, finding books they enjoy, letting them choose, criticise adults who impose their values on children's reading. And he says there's no such thing as a bad book. It can you can easily destroy a reader in reading. A generation convinced that reading is uncool, and you can actually promote. You get accused of promoting illiteracy. So there's all quotes. You need point, quote, explanation. The first person account helps to engage the reader. The use of speech in colloquial style. The positive points convey the writer's optimism. It's a very upbeat, brilliant piece with imagery and lists and enthusiasm and very positive bit of advice. He's talking, so it's very colloquial. So you can choose bits from there as well. So you need to redo this. All right, text 2. I'm hiding it because obviously you can look it up if you want, but you need to write this yourself. Starts off with negative points about teenage behaviour. Gathered around the table, eyes fastened to the smartphone. Of course, them hooded and like druids and things. I think suggests that modern technology is to blame, attached or stuck to their screen. Most of all, screens frustrates. Blah blah blah. Digital culture has enveloped us. So this whole idea that we've been taken over. Using a research organisation, which I've talked about, so Deforestry, suggests that these concerns are not new. Uh, Television altered our consciousness. Everyone's worried about that. These concerns may not be a problem. Kids survived, blah, blah. Conveys a pessimistic viewpoint, or so we'd like to think. So it's a miserable, grumpy viewpoint, if you ask me, from an old man who's lost touch. General points candidates may make on the whole of text 2. Oh, whoops, what have I done there? Oh dear, I seem to have done something annoying. I don't know quite what I've done there. Anyway, so I've talked you through that. Um, you're unpicking how they write it basically in there, all right? You're going to have to redo that, okay? I have talked through the way you could redo it. You're welcome to look at the mark scheme to have a go because you really need to understand how this works, all right? It's underneath. Otherwise, you're going to be seriously have a problem because you've actually lost. Okay, so far you've done what? So you've got. So that's out of how many is that out of? 1 out of 15. That's the question paper, isn't it? Let's just have a look. What's it actually out of? Section A. £40. So out of 40, you have got. This is a disaster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say 7, 8, say 9. Anyway, you can change that for the amount you have actually got, but it's very, very low indeed, and I'm really worried about it. Please, can you redo those ASAP, please? Like literally now, just as soon as you stop doing this. All right, really perturbing, Jack. Read the question. That's what you did so well. I don't understand. And you can do really well. Okay. Well, I'll read it at section B and section C, and we'll talk about that as well. Okay.